Yeah, I think I'm pretty much ready to go. You ready to go?
Oh, I'm ready as I'll ever be. I'm just still fucking waking up, so
I am
we'll
too.
see what happens. This could be really good. It could suck really bad.
I like it either way.
Yeah,
It's very punk rock.
yeah. Because even when it sucks, it's good.
I mean, it's the lifestyle. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sideways in Time. Today, we're going to kind of go off the grid a little bit, as we've actually been doing the last few weeks. I promise we'll get back to the what if segments here soon, but we need to take a little bit of a break and space them out. So, today we're going to talk about some movies that are coming out this week and or this month. We're going to do a little Ghostbusters discussion because we both finally saw Ghostbusters Afterlife. So we're going to discuss that a little bit. We've got some GCW news, some MLW news, some other little odds and ends. We're also going to talk about the return of Journey Pro, baby, here in Kansas City. And then we're also going to have the discussion, has WWE lost the ability to compete? So that will be today's show. Of course, I would be remiss. Is that the right way to use this term? If I didn't introduce us. So as always, you know it. I know it. He knows it. I'm your co-host, Lucha Chris. Everybody, welcome. And over here, I've realized the last couple weeks that I've done a really terrible job doing a good job introducing Pat. And because I'm usually terrible at it. And the last couple shows, I've listened to it back while editing and I'm like, oh, wait, that was way too clean and good. So without further ado, everybody, the guy over here, he's got a hat. He's got a sweatshirt on.
Oh, fuck.
He's sitting in a room somewhere in an apartment or house or building of some kind. He's wearing regular glasses because aviators don't have bifocals. Patriot Pat, everybody.
Wow, that was really bad.
Yes. I scored.
Yeah. Back to normal. Hey, good morning and happy Turkey Day. Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Oh yeah, we should have done a fucking Turkey Day theme, huh?
Yeah. So
I didn't even think about it. I'm wearing it's the kind of the color of my sweatshirt.
Fucking gluttonous American holiday. It's the only American holiday where you're just like, what do we celebrate? Fucking eating.
Yeah.
We're gonna get fat and sleep,
Yeah, I'm gonna keep myself from talking about my thoughts on actual Thanksgiving. So yeah, I'll go with the gluttony.
Nothing more patriotic than that. During the show today, I'm going to be sampling Rogue Beers, Santa's Private Reserve, the Kringle Crusher. My buddy Ryan Babb sent me a picture of it. He lives in Indiana, and so last week Casey and I drove to Overland Park because they had it. And if you look carefully, if I could get it close enough, before it disappears. Come on.
You might have to put like your other hand behind it, possibly.
Yeah. Okay. You see Santa dropping an elbow, but if you can see, look, he's dropping the elbow on. It's Krampus. So we're going to crack this open. And I am not much of a beer drinker.
Pretty much he's an alcoholic is what he's saying.
So if I say this thing's disgusting, I could be way off because the last beer I had was in May.
We're literally it's 11 a.m. right now, guys. Well, it's 11:17.
11:20. I ain't no drunk. 11. Hey.
Man, now I want a beer. Damn it, this is bullshit. I haven't drank since Halloween, so
it's not bad.
That face. So another reason you guys got to watch the YouTube channel because you got to see his face after he takes that first sip. Oh man. So Anyways, guys, yeah, let's get started in the show. You know what I didn't do, which it's not that big a deal, but I did not start the stopwatch. Okay, so let's talk about some movies because he's still having trouble with that, huh?
It's 8.3 alcohol.
He's gonna be wasted, you guys.
Oh, I'm gonna be like Tutor Zach by the end of the show.
Yeah, Zach or actually Bill ends up being the most sauced by the end of the show most of the time on Bad for Ringside podcast. But you can always like tell the downward or upward progression depending on if they've been drinking. Sometimes he gets into the wine, gets a little banged up.
And usually about 45 minutes in, then it gets really entertaining.
They all just start screaming at each
other. It's good
other.
Up until that point, but once you hit that tipping point, it's fun.
So this week we've got a couple of movies. Actually, this month so far have dropped quite a few halfway decent movies. You've got Marvel's Eternals, which I've still yet to watch yet. From what I understand, it hasn't gotten the best reviews, but I could really care less. As long as I'm entertained, that's really the only reason I give a shit. Clifford the Big Red Dog, I know everybody's excited about that, which I've actually heard is a halfway decent movie, surprisingly enough. And by the way, since we don't have a lot of, I looked at the like ages of the people that mostly listen to our show, and it's up there in numbers. And so I know no children are watching or listening right now. So I do want to point out that Clifford the dog is 100%, if it was a crayon color, he'd be dog dick red. So what else?
Which I wonder how big his red rocket is.
I don't know. And to be honest, I don't even know if they go into his gender, which makes sense.
His name is Clifford.
So there's girls named Bobby.
Clifford.
Robert. So anyway,
it's not one of those gender ambiguous. That's one of the fun things. Like when my wife and I go out, they're like, "Oh, it's Pat and Casey." You know, if you just heard us by name, you're like, "Oh, or is it a guy and a girl? Is it two girls? Is it two guys? Which one's a girl? Which one's a guy? We'll never know."
It's the same with me and you, Pat and Chris.
Yeah. They don't know who the woman, who the man is.
You know what'd be cool is if we
who's the top, who's the bottom.
We could do like the Back to the Future.
Who's the switch? Who's the dom? I don't.
Wow.
Who gets fisted?
So we could do like a Ghostbusters 2016 thing after we've had enough of this podcast, and we could replace us with a Pat and a Chris who are female, and the show would, not because they were female, but be nowhere near as good as the original Ghostbusters 2016. Anyway, so speaking of Ghostbusters, you saw Ghostbusters, right?
Suck really bad because we don't really have that high a bar.
Man, oh no, we do. Again, 2 weeks in a row. Speak for your fucking self. So, I work at a theater technically, and I've worked there for, I don't know however long it's been, since early summer, and I have not once seen a movie for free in the theater I work at until Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I finally just saw this weekend. And you saw it too as well, correct?
I saw it Friday night.
Yeah, I think I saw it Sunday. What'd you think?
I absolutely fucking loved it.
Now, before we get into it, spoiler alert, just in case, because I'm sure we'll probably get into some details. So if you haven't seen it and you care about spoilers, I don't know what to tell you, but skip ahead or something, or see. But
yeah, maybe we'll try to pay attention in editing to see when the Ghostbusters talk starts and stops, so you can fast forward or whatever.
Yeah, I'll put like a little timer thing up above or something. So, yeah. But yeah, what'd you think?
I absolutely fucking loved it. I thought it had the same feel and fun as the first one. And the second one too. But this was kind of a direct sequel to the first one. It kind of ignored the events of the second one. So, but yeah, it was so much fun. And then the little things like the sound effects were the same. And the music and the practical effects, I loved all that too. It really connected the two universes. yeah, it was just overall, it was a perfect bookend to the Ghostbusters series. I'll get more into it because I know Chris has some stuff to say.
Yeah, I just want to start off first of all. This is one of the reasons why I always say that reviews mean fuck all to me most of the time. Because I was just curious. Take a little swig of that motherfucking beer. So I just out of curiosity, not because I needed the validation of their review, but just to see what they would say. And they said on Rotten Tomatoes, the tomato meter, Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 62%, but the audience score is 95. So that's really all I give a shit about. Like the fans have liked it, but it got bad reviews. Even the people that there's these two guys in Kansas City on the news that do like movie reviews in the mornings, and they're fucking awful anyway, but they review every decent movie as shit. And that kind of bugs me. But yeah, man, you know, other than Winston, they didn't really tap too much into the second movie at all, which is fine. I thought it was awesome. And in all honesty, in retrospect, after watching it and thinking about it, it was pretty much the entire movie was pretty much a movie about what's his name?
Harold Ramis.
Yeah. I mean, literally the opening scene through the entire thing, like he was there's
a tribute to him, kind of
100%, but it was done so well. Like I was telling some friends of mine at work yesterday, I thought the 2016 movie was funny. It had funny moments, but it was not a Ghostbusters movie. It didn't feel like Ghostbusters whatsoever, other than they shot laser beams at ghosts. You know, like they could have called it almost anything else and it would have been a halfway decent movie. But this one, I mean, first of all, Harold Ramis's, Ivan's son is the one who took over. And
Jason Reitman.
Yeah. And it's obvious that it wasn't a movie made for the production company. It wasn't just a cash grab kind of movie. I felt like because he was a part of it, it was allowed to have like a heart and a soul. So the movie was very, I had some nitpicks. Like I know a lot of people's favorite part, one of their favorite parts was in the trailer with the little mini Stay Puft Marshmallow mans. I wasn't a huge fan of those things, but I get later on in the movie why they were there. It kind of helped serve a purpose later. So in wrestling terms, that's long-term storytelling, I guess. But yeah, all in all, I thought the cast was great. The little girl who played the granddaughter, I thought was amazing. The mom was hilarious. Like it had a lot of, and I almost wish we would have saw just a little bit more of the original cast. Just a little bit more, but because the other cast was so strong, the new cast, that's just a nitpick. I thought Paul Rudd did a great job basically being damn it, I'm so bad with names right now. The key master or whatever.
Oh, the Rick Moranis.
Yeah,
Vince Cortho.
Yeah. He was basically the Rick Moranis of this movie. Even at the very end, he looked just like him with the crazy hair and the whole thing. Like, but yeah, man, I thought it was great. It was very touching. It had very touching moments. And an epic reveal at the end that I think was kind of, we all saw coming, but it was okay though. I wasn't mad that it was kind of predictable.
When she made the phone call and Dan Aykroyd answered it, my wife and I were
in his bookstore.
Yeah.
From the
at the end when the team showed up, we were all just crying. Because okay, so my stepdaughter, she's 14. That's her like favorite movie. She saw it when she was like 4 and just latched onto it. And so she absolutely loved it. My my wife grew up with that movie, so she absolutely loves it. And I mean, yeah, I've seen all three of the original cast ones in theaters. Right. So I mean, but yeah, so they just we were all just crying and stuff when they showed up, and it was so sweet, and the way they did it was perfect.
I agree.
I have minor nitpicks. There was little things in the script, like when the granddaughter is using the proton pack and shooting, and the mom is like, "Come on!" And I was like, "Yeah, that's kind of tropey, kind of cheesy." I mean, there's little cheesy things in the script, right? But it wasn't a bad script. It was just like a moment here, a moment there. That I was like, you didn't really need that, but yeah, overall, it was just it was such a fun movie, and it was a nice tribute to the Ghostbusters IP. So many little things. The Stay Puft Marshmallow. She, when she goes down there and she puts the colander on her head, which my stepdaughter went to Comic-Con this year dressed as Vince Cortho with awesome. She made the colander and everything. Yeah, if I get her permission, I might throw a picture up on the Sideways in Time.
That'd be awesome.
But it was just enjoyable, and that's what I go to a movie for. I go to be enjoyed. I don't want to sit there and nitpick. I don't want to think too much. You know,
I didn't do very much of it with this one, honestly. Like normally I do, but I really, like you said, I have minor nitpicks, but it was good enough all around that I was able to just kind of bypass those things and enjoy myself.
Oh, and yeah. The one nod I noticed that was a lot of fun is when Paul Rudd was picking out the ice cream. He was looking at Baskin Robbins ice cream, and if you remember in Ant-Man, he was working at Baskin Robbins. I was like, oh my god, that so. There was little things like that, and when it comes out on video or Netflix or whatever they do, I'm gonna have to rewatch it to like pay attention to the Easter eggs and the stuff that they threw in there, because I know that they're scattered throughout that I just missed.
So did you stick around after the credits and then after the credits?
I stuck around for because when they were revealing the cast and they said Sigourney Weaver, and we were, where the hell was Sigourney Weaver? And then they cut into her cutscene. So I saw that, and then was there another one? I can't remember.
So you had to wait till the absolute end, the very, very, very end, and it basically, if I remember everything correctly, how like setting the scene, you hear Winston talking, and it kind of pulls out, and he's sitting at this desk, dressed all to the nines, looks real good, and he's talking about, like, he's basically talking about the past, and then they pull out even further, and it's the old Ghostbusters building, all gutted and like old and beat up, and they open up the doors, and then the Echo One pulls in, and he like stands up. So it's almost as if they were hinting that they could reopen the franchise down the road if it made sense. And I was actually watching, it was from a couple years ago, but I was watching an interview. I don't remember what company it was with, but it was Dan Aykroyd and Ivan Reitman. Or actually they were just talking to Jason Reitman. Anyway, and he was talking about how if they wanted to, and Ivan was there too. Shit, my brain is mush. About
I'm wondering.
This is before this movie was a go. Before this version of the script was going to happen. This is when it was still one of Dan Aykroyd's scripts. But they were talking about, would you franchise it out? And the one thing that Dan Aykroyd said was, if we can make characters that people love enough, like we did the first time, then I would love to be able to pass the torch to a new generation of Ghostbusters. And it only makes sense. With this franchise, you can do it as long as you got the right people behind it, like anything else. And they do. So in all reality, if they're making Winston almost like the guy who's, because he looks like because he's the millionaire. He's the one that like was the most successful of the three or of the four, apparently, according to what they said in Afterlife, like what he did after the Ghostbusters. So like, it only makes sense that he's got the money to front to open it back up. and like start the world back over. So who knows?
Well, and that was one of the complaints about the 2016 Ghostbusters that I heard was they were trying to do a reboot, whereas if they just did it as like, in the same universe,
I thought so too. Yep.
And they said, if they would have picked a different city, Chicago, LA, whatever, New Orleans,
Yep.
it had to be, and then, just reference like that there's like Ghostbusters chapters throughout.
Yeah.
Then I think it would have done better. I think what rubbed people the wrong way, if they're anything like me, is it was just like, no, you guys aren't the Ghostbusters. You might be Ghostbusters, but you're not the Ghostbusters. You know what I mean? And it's
I agree.
and I mean, I guess Aykroyd and Winston were in the 2016 one, maybe. I don't know.
But they all three of them were in it, but they didn't play Peter, Raymond, or Winston. They what's his name? Ernie played like this. He had like a funeral home service, and that's where the car came from. So, and he was like the girl's uncle. Bill Murray was that anti-ghost guy on TV. He was like against ghosts, and he didn't believe they were real or whatever. And then Dan Aykroyd, I think, owned a bookstore or something. It was something weird like that, but they didn't play their characters from the movie. They just had cameos.
Okay, so yeah, and that makes it even worse. I mean,
yeah. Exactly. But they all had high enough hopes to be in it. They thought it was apparently what I heard about the 2016 one is that it was and of course they'd say this, but I believe it's kind of true because first of all, the cast was pretty good. It's not like anybody in that cast was weak. They're all great actors.
Comedic geniuses.
Exactly. So that wasn't the problem. Apparently the script was amazing. And that's why when Bill Murray and Aykroyd and all of them read the original script, that's why they agreed to be in it regardless of what their role was. But then the studio decided they wanted to make a ton of changes last second to appeal to the toys and everything else, that they completely stripped the majority of the original script, and it turned into the goofy, stupid movie that it turned out to be. So by that point, they had already roped in the original cast for whatever it was. And so again, it had its funny moments because I think that's part of what was probably there in the original script was some of those moments. But all in all, the story itself just kind of sucked. It wasn't that good. And the thing with the original Ghostbusters is it was a horror comedy. It wasn't necessarily blood and guts horror, but it was a horror comedy.
It was suspense. It was like back in the flashback to like the 60s horror, where it was it was more in your head and stuff like. I mean, well, shit. Look at Jaws. You didn't see the shark. You saw the fin, but you didn't see the shark until the end of the movie. Stuff like that.
Well, even just the scene in the original movie where the hands pop up out of the chair and grab her and spin the chair, like they actually did that. That was that's one of the Easter eggs in the very beginning. That's how he dies. But like it's creepy stuff. And like the 2016 one, it was just kind of hokey and for kids.
I was gonna say it sounded hokier, and
which, like I said, it had its moments. I've watched it a few times. It's funny. It's fun to watch, but you have to completely let go. And I think to circle it back, this movie made up for that one. So now I feel like maybe I'll be able to enjoy that one a little more because this one turned out so well. You know what I mean? Like it didn't get ruined. It's just a standalone movie. It doesn't have to be connected. It's just a fun movie. And I appreciate that about this one, because if it wasn't for this one, I'd be a little bit harder on that one still. But yeah, I thought it was great. And if they open up to a new franchise because of this one, I'm not so worried about it, to be honest.
That's what I was getting at. To where if they open up, Winston, who is a doctor now as well, somewhere between After 2 and Afterlife, he got his doctorate. Congratulations, Dr. Zedmore.
Yeah.
But if they open it up and like I was saying with the different chapters, if they did something like that and you had then they could do other things. I mean, you think about it, you could do another movie, you could do a cartoon, you can do comic books, you could do a video game, you could do all these different things. a TV show, whatever, but you can have it in different chapters as long as you have that spirit and that strength of like, the writing, the humor in there. You have the same kind of humor and stuff, but you could open it up to different things. Not saying you have to do all those things, but you could open it up to another avenue.
All in all, I'm satisfied with how it turned out. I can't wait to see it again, which is like something that's rare. Like it happens quite a bit because I do love my movies, but I'm actually considering going back to the theater to see it again since I get to see it for free regardless. But and that was the other thing. I saw it in Screen X, which I don't know if you know what that is, but at the B&B theaters, the Screen X, and I don't know how much I like this. I liked it a little bit during the movie. Suck it. No, Screen X it's the screen. It's a massive, massive screen, but then certain parts of the movie, it extends onto the walls next to you.
Oh yeah.
So it was actually way better during the movie than the example they show you before the movie on how it works. It made me dizzy as fuck. But during the movie, it was fine, and it helps add a little bit to it. But yeah, I was all around. I was pretty happy and excited that it turned out as good as it did.
One thing was because the reason I went and saw it when I did, I went to work and your former coworker, but my coworker Andrew, but we were working together, and he was like, oh, I went and saw Ghostbusters, and he was like, yeah, I splurged and got the Dolby Theater. He's like, it was totally worth it, but I was like, oh, I forgot that was out. So that's when I came home and gathered up the wife and kid, and would have taken my son, but he was out with his friends. So, gotcha. But anyway, we go out and see it, and then I tell Andrew at work.
He loves Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah. Well, he's
got all the figures,
I think he's closer to my age.
Yep.
So
I think he's between me and you, honestly.
Yeah, I think he's right around 40. So he was like that prime age of like youth wise. But anyway, we were talking, and I was like, oh yeah, when the old team showed up, we were all crying. He goes, I held it together until Egon put his hand on his granddaughter's hand. He's like, then I was like, oh fuck it, and he was like, yeah, I cried like a baby and stuff.
Yep. I knew going into it that apparently I was going to get emotional because I do during movies, and so because I knew it was coming, I got choked up, but I didn't cry. I haven't watched it the second time yet, so we'll see.
I cried. I cried like a baby, and then I hear my wife, and she awesome. But yeah, it was fun. Okay, yeah. So Ghostbusters, I give it 4.5 Rogue Santa's Private Reserves Kringle Crushers out of 5 Kringle Crushers.
Look at that. Krampus is fucked.
Yeah, fuck Krampus.
So
fuck him in his hairy ass.
Wow.
I'm feeling a little buzzed. I don't know how the rest of the show's gonna go. Fucking 8.3 alcohol. It's not even noon on a fucking Wednesday, and I'm fucking schnockered. All right.
He's gonna end up drinking
fucking
the rest
party.
of this. Oh man,
my titties are gonna be out by the end of the show.
Dude, if you don't just film yourself after we're done with this, drinking the rest of that, and just for the YouTube channel, I don't know what we're doing here. I
might have it done by the end of the show. This might be a 4-hour episode. Who knows? I might just fucking ramble. Chris will leave, and I'll just be
just start. Well,
yeah, just fucking rambling. Fucking go straight up Ted Nugent on you. And then you gotta eat from the land.
Let's not do that. So. Anyway, so last week, JCB from Band from Ringside actually sent us a rant that, not because it was late on his part, but because I was actually early on my part, which is rare. I had the podcast edited and ready to go by the time he had sent me the rant. So we didn't have one last week, but this week I was advised it will be on its way. So without further ado, welcome back. From Band from Ringside podcast, we have the rant of the week from Jason Cornelius Bell. We'll be right back.
He's heating up.
This is banned from ringside.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy JCB, Jason Cornelius Bell. I'm back with my weekly rant. This week's rant is about the Survivor Series. I had a huge problem with both the men's and the women's Survivor Series matches. Usually in matches like this, I would think you would take the time to put guys over, put girls over, somebody that needs that extra push, kind of like the Money in the Bank. You know, even though it did go to Nikki ASH, she took that and won the title off of it. It didn't necessarily propel her into new heights, dare I say, but it at least, you know, jumped her into being a world heavyweight or world champion for the women. In this scenario, you had opportunities for Austin Theory on the men's side, Toni Storm, which is my personal favorite on the women's side, and everybody's seemingly favorite, Liv Morgan, all having chances to either become a co-survivor or, in the case of the women, be the sole survivor. And that never really materialized. Look, I like Bianca Belair like the next person, but she didn't need this win, okay? As much as I don't like Liv Morgan, she needed this win because she has a ton of fans out there that, for whatever reason, support her. And like I said a couple of weeks ago, WWE will show you who they like and who they don't like, who they support and who they won't support. They have made it abundantly clear they are not going to fuck with Liv Morgan for sure, and definitely not Toni Storm. At least both actually take that back. Both do have programs coming up, one against Becky with Liv Morgan, the other against Charlotte with Toni Storm. Perfect opportunity to give them a Survivor Series win and build the momentum up, so that way it makes it look like they have a chance. I just said it. The match ain't even happened yet. I'm not giving either one of these ladies a chance. That's just poor booking. If they'd have done it the right way, either or, personally, I'd have had Toni Storm. That's just me. I think she's the better talent. I'd have had Toni Storm go over. If it had been Toni and Bianca, so be it. More so, if it had been Toni Storm solo, that'd have been amazing. Strikes 1 and 2. Strike 3, I guess you can go with Austin Theory. Now, look, same concept with Seth Rollins. Does Seth Rollins need another accolade on his already probably potential Hall of Fame career? Hell no. He did not need to be the sole survivor of this. Austin Theory needed to be the sole survivor of it. So that way, if you did something stupid like you did with the egg going through that should have been the rant. If you'd have been doing something stupid with the egg all throughout the weekend, at least Austin Theory has a legitimate reason to go and challenge Big E for the title. Not just to pay off some silly little dumbass Cleopatra egg for The Rock's new movie. I love The Rock like the next guy, but come on now. Enough's enough. That egg angle went 2 days too far. It shouldn't even gotten on Sunday's pay-per-view. Neither here nor there. Like I said, to me, the Survivor Series wasn't necessarily the best pay-per-view. It wasn't the worst pay-per-view, but a way they could have made it better, put the young stars over. You got a bunch of 40-year-olds running around here, and sooner or later, you're going to have to replace those 40-year-olds. That's it. I'm out. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. This is your boy, JCB. We'll see you next week.
This is banned from ringside.
And we're back. So anyways, thanks, JCB, as usual, for...
JCB, you're the only one in St. Louis then banned from ringside that I like.
Wow. Goddamn. I love all three of you guys. Jason, you know I love you. Zach, we're like this, you know. Bill is the co-host. So
I mean, yeah. You got. I mean, JCB is great. Zach is hysterical. Bill is there.
Yeah, exactly. At BFR Pod on Twitter, at BFR JCB, at BFR Zach with an H, and at BFR Bill. Check those guys out every Friday. Banned for Ringside drops on all podcast platforms.
That show is really entertaining, and I do love listening to it. And one of my favorite things is Bill's, also known as every
Oh yeah, the AKAs.
the opening episode. No, they are a lot of fun.
So
Yeah, go check them out. If for some reason you're listening to us and not them, I don't know why.
The only reason we're a show is because of them, to be honest. So
pretty much, yeah, because you worked with them and we worked together. I mean, it's fucking 6 Degrees and Kevin Bacon. I don't know where this show's gonna go either. I'm fucking feeling it.
Put it down, buddy. Have a water, Oh,
it's like vanilla ball
You need to get some of those fucking peanut butter pretzels from Costco. Like last week,
they're like $7.67 for 17 pounds.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. So hey, I wanted to move on a little bit to some wrestling news outside of the JCB rant this week. I had tweeted out, and this was before I really saw what was going on. I saw some rumblings of it, but I didn't really get into the details of it. And then this morning, I had tweeted that I saw a good future coming for GCW. They just even all of the hardcore deathmatch stuff aside, I feel like GCW is doing some pretty cool things. And what I did notice was I saw GCW and I saw Hammerstein Ballroom, which was like, that's pretty cool, but I didn't think about it. And sure enough, they have a pay-per-view that'll be, I believe, on Fight Orange. It's sponsored by Fight, Orange Crush, and Pabst Blue Ribbon on January 23rd at the Hammerstein Ballroom at 8 p.m. The World on GCW. And the cool thing is they've got this, like, if you go to their Twitter, their pinned tweet is this super well done video compilation of like all of their talent kind of talking about everybody saying that GCW wouldn't be shit and look at us now kind of thing. It's really entertaining. It's really cool. And it's cool for GCW. Like I said, I'm not huge on the deathmatch stuff, but I watch GCW and still get what I need out of wrestling. And I think the talent that they do have, aside from the deathmatch stuff, is still really, really good. And it's kind of like the new heart and soul of what ECW was, or what was supposed to be what ECW would become. And I'm really stoked for them, man. They've got a sweet lineup. A lot of guys and girls that have been wrestling for years on the independents and elsewhere that are finally starting to get the recognition they deserve. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that briefly because I'm having a lot of fun watching GCW, and it's really cool to see that they're going to be in such an iconic venue for what seems to be a very, very big deal for them and the history of GCW. And there's also the Indie Wrestling Hall of Fame that they're doing on January 22nd. And it's, I think, either hosted by or just two of the inductees are Jerry Lynn and Sean Waltman, X-Pac. So that's pretty cool. Then I also wanted to jump into some more indie news. Hey, I'm excited about it. I know Patrick's excited about it. I know Kansas City's excited about it. I know that St. Louis is excited about it because I actually know a handful of people from St. Louis that'll be out for this show. Journey Pro.
Oh, really? Sweet.
Yeah. Journey Pro has had a little bit of a hiatus, probably isn't the best word, but they've had some troubles, give or take, here with the last show and the previous show they were supposed to have, and then some talent issues getting them booked and keeping them booked, that kind of thing. A lot of things are happening and people aren't able to make it to every show, but they're coming in fucking full force this week, this Friday night, November 26th at Blip Coffee, or actually Blip Roasters, in Kansas City, Missouri. Showtime is at 7 p.m. Tickets you can get at journeyprokc.com. Thanksgiving is the name of the show for their triumphant return. And I'm going to go over a little bit of the card because it's fucking stacked. So we've got a 4-way dance. It's Trevor Eon, friend of the show. One of these days, you guys will figure that out. Versus Ethan Everhart versus Jay Marston versus Darian Bingston. And I think I said that wrong, and I apologize. Super cool. That's going to be a fun match. We've also got the new Gateway Heritage Champion. Yes, the new Gateway Heritage Champion.
I know.
Robo motherfucking Ginger, Gary fucking J versus JDX, who is not the fucking sleep on. This match is going to be a banger.
Yeah.
Gary fucking J, everybody, the new Gateway Heritage Champion. Rightfully so. And then we're going to move on. We've got Thumbs and Buns versus Jason Sturfy.
I think it's Strife.
Oh, okay, Strife. I'm trying to read the text on the actual graphics, not the text of his name. So that might have been part of it. And then Donnie Pepper Cricket. I don't know why I found that so funny.
That's like a Benedict Cumberbatch kind of name.
That's the funniest shit I've ever heard. So anyways, that should be I'm gonna be honest, I'm not familiar with those two. But Thumbs and Buns will be there, so it's gotta be good.
Jason Strife was in the Battle Royal the first time we went to Blip Roasters. And it was the Million Degree show.
Yeah, that's right. The one at Blip.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I remember. And this is the return to Blip, so I'm interested because it'll actually probably be nice. You know.
Oh yeah, now that it's cooler out,
yeah. So
at the end of July, when it was like 95 outside, and like, Roasters was the appropriate name because that's what everybody did inside.
Let me just pause and say that they for a venue that's never done wrestling, as far as I know, they're just a coffee place. They did a very good job trying to keep us safe in that heat. They gave us all those paper plates for fans. They gave out free water. They really took care of us, and I appreciate it.
No, I'm not knocking Blip at all. I'm just saying that it was Satan's ball sack.
Oh no, 100%, and they were well aware of that. And that's what I mean. Like that wasn't based on what you said. I'm just really happy that they did everything they could to make us comfortable.
Yeah, Blip Roasters is pretty cool. I dig the place, and I had a nice coffee there, and it was delicious. And I dropped it at one point, but I didn't spill it. It was weird.
This time around, though, I'm kind of nervous because it was so hot that day that I only had one cold brew. But because it'll actually be a somewhat normal temperature, I might get coffee drunk this time around because I don't drink really anymore. So I might just chug coffees the whole show and then get
if you want a drink, I can recommend a drink.
So up next, I'm good, man. Thanks. We've got Luke Langley versus Christian Rhodes versus Dallas Cade. This is
the bottom of the can. I don't know if everything settles, but it's really bitter.
You're supposed to shake it up first. This match is going to be phenomenal. All three of these guys are fucking dope. Dallas Cade is on the up and up, young dude, super over with the Journey Pro fans. Super, super rad. Christian Rose, one of the more brutal and gnarly wrestlers that I've seen in the Midwest or in the Indies in general, and one of the best talkers there is in the business. And then Luke Langley is just also a force to be reckoned with. So,
and I've never seen this persona of Luke Langley,
which we were supposed to get it a couple times, and it just because of roster changes,
I've only seen the yoga.
Which I love them both, but I love this Luke Langley a lot.
So,
and then we've got the former Gateway Heritage Champion, Jeremy Wyatt versus Vinny Pacifico. And I'm not sure. This is just it's going to be weird to not have a pure wrestling rules match with Jeremy Wyatt, but I'm interested to see what he's going to do without the championship on the line. That's going to be a fun one. Then
and seeing Jeremy at all the at the shows, kind of an asshole. Jeremy Wyatt is an asshole.
I love him.
I will say that.
I love him.
Wrestler, great technician, but he's an asshole. So I not only am I happy he lost the belt, I'm happy he lost the belt to Gary J.
Oh, we're all happy he lost it to Gary
Jeremy Wyatt's all crisp and tight and technical, and Gary J's like the equivalent of like the Tasmanian devil on meth.
Wow. You hear that, Gary?
No, the Tasmanian devil on PCP. And so I'm happy that Gary J won. I love Gary J.
We all do. He's a lovable guy.
and Jeremy Wyatt's asshole.
So we've also got two of my favorite tag teams in the indies right now, especially in our area. We've got the Premier versus the motherfucking Howlets. I know, careful, Patrick. I know you got to be careful because I know you're.
I'm not going to talk shit about the Howlets at all. I love the Howlets.
You've had a 16-ounce beer. Don't pee yourself as we talk about them. I know you get scared.
Okay. Well, I've had like 14 ounces of it, but yeah.
Even still, I know you got that old bladder, so I just want to make sure that you're good.
I myself while I'm drinking my beer.
This one I'm actually looking forward to a lot too. This is going to be a fucking crazy match. We've got KLD, Kevin Lee Davidson versus Kenny Alfonso. What a fucking dynamic. Like, we've got 6'4", whatever he weighs, KLD versus, I don't know, 5'6", 5'7", 5'8". Kenny Alfonso, probably 170 pounds, maybe 160 pounds, but both fantastic wrestlers.
And Kenny Alfonso,
he's a Greek
body guy. Like a Greek god.
Yep, you ain't wrong. And then we've also got
this one I'm excited about.
Marsha Slamovich versus Heidi Howitzer.
Masha.
That's what I say, Marsha.
Yeah.
Marsha. Yeah, this is awesome.
Masha Slamovich.
The return of Heidi Howitzer as well to Journey Pro. She was there for the Lemonade Park, the tournament that we had, and she got a ticket. So this is her return to Journey Pro. And yeah, you guys, like I said, this Friday, November 26th at Blip Coffee. Super
Heidi Howitzer recently on AEW Dark or Dark Elevation, one of the two.
Yep. So let's go ahead and move forward a little bit. We're going to have just a little random discussion. This is just something that I randomly thought about one day while browsing around on Twitter. Oh, go ahead. Oh, yeah, you had some MLW stuff to talk about.
Before we get, I watched the last two episodes of MLW. They were a couple of weeks old, but yeah, I watched the War Chamber, and I leaned over to my wife and I said, "Oh, it's like War Games, but in one ring." And she said, "Yes, honey, it's called War Chamber. What did you think it was?" I'm not too quick on the uptake. But it was a lot of fun. It was Team Contra versus Team MLW, led by the Hammer Dicks. Alex Hammerstone. No, that's what
I know.
Ron called them, the Hammer Dicks. I thought that was hysterical.
Like the Ass Boys.
Well, that's my wife's nickname for me, Hammer Dick.
I thought it was Ass Boy.
So no, that's your nickname for me. But it was a lot of fun. It was the one thing. Yeah, MLW needs a bigger ring, and it looks like they were advertising that.
It's like I think it's a 14 foot.
14 or 16. It's
16,
it's tiny.
20 by 20 is like the AEW WWE.
Yeah, that's a AEW WWE.
So yeah, I think it's probably 16.
Yeah. It especially having 10 people in there.
Right.
But I finally got to see Jeff Cobb wrestle.
Oh, dude,
because he's New Japan. I don't watch New Japan. I just read about him.
He used to wrestle in the Indies, like in St. Louis and shit like that all the time too. He was fucking.
Yeah. And how long have I been involved in the Indies?
Oh yeah, for like 3 or 4 minutes.
Since you took me to a Journey Pro show, like right before the pandemic. So, yeah. So aside from the Indiana Indies, which is like a whole different animal, I'm not familiar with the Indies. So anyway, MLW was cool. I watched the episode, the War Chamber episode, and then the one that auto-played after that was the episode before the War Chamber, the build up to it, and they had like a 10-man tag, which was cool because I got to see Warhorse and Kevin Koo in there, and they both got punked out right away, and we're that's kind of bullshit. But the judge was it EJ Naduka.
Yep.
I might be saying his name wrong. I know I am. I apologize. I'm fucking drunk on Kringle Crusher. So, but yeah, the judge, dude, fucking NXT, let that motherfucker go.
Yep.
He's got it. He's got it. But the one thing I did like about MLW is they did a promo with Cesar Duran and the Hammerheads. And usually when you watch an indie promo or a smaller promotion promo, they are corny and forced.
Yeah.
This sounded really natural. It sounded like a normal conversation. In fact, yeah, it was the judge, Hammerstone, and a dynastic guy. I forget his name. But yeah, they were all just kind of bullshit and stuff. And I was really impressed with the promos. And now that they're like, yeah, we're going to start welcoming free agents and stuff. I think in the next
they have
year,
to do that.
But I think in the next year, it's going to be WWE and AEW on top. You're going to have Impact right behind them as the third, as the second tier. And then, Ring of Honor, I don't know what's going on with that. So I'm just going to leave them out for now. But I think you're going to have MLW and GCW on the
Under
third
the umbrella.
tier.
Yeah.
Third tier or 2.5 tier. But they're going to be, I think we're going to see big things from both GCW and MLW, and I'm excited about that because it's going to give more variety.
Well, and I was going to say there's a niche that MLW and GCW and Impact, each one of those, WWE and NXT, which I don't really want to talk about right now, AEW, MLW, GCW, like they all have their own flavor. Impact has like the kind of more comedic but great in ring action. They've got more of the like, dark gothic characters and all that kind of stuff. You've got MLW, which scratches the like Lucha Underground itch. Plus you get the Von Erichs and Hammerstone and all that,
and Fatu and
LA Park. And like, they have all these great flavors.
Fucking LA Park. I love LA Park because he is, he's got the tag team Los Parks, which the tag team are LA Park 2 and Son of Park.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking awesome, man. Apparently, Enzo's headed to MLW. MLW.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know how. Not great in the ring, but motherfucker can cut a promo better than anybody.
I don't really care because it's not like I don't care in the sense that I don't care about what happened at Survivor Series. I just don't really care because it's not like he's going to hurt their company. He's going to go out there. He's going to talk a bunch of shit. He'll probably get his ass beat. And that's what he's there for, So, but yeah, MLW is a lot more fun than I think people give it credit for. I take that back because it is getting credit. It's slowly becoming more and more popular as the days go by. So, but good on them, man, because they've been at it for a long time, and they were one of the ones that were hurting the most during the pandemic when everything was shut down. So it's nice to see that they're having to come up as well. Again, like GCW, it's kind of the rise of the indies right now, which is super cool. It's almost like having the territories back for a whole new generation.
I'm excited, especially with all these releases and stuff. I mean, excited for the releases, but excited to see where people go and, with the open door policy, just to see who shows up where. It's fun.
They just had Bobby Fish over there who had a great match, and Bobby Fish is now obviously becoming more of a crucial part in AEW. So it's nice that these companies are all willing to kind of shake hands and just like the old days, even before my time for the most part, when it was the territories. They were able to just kind of, hey, let's go make some money over here, bring this product up, and then when we get kind of stale, we have a place somewhere else we can go.
Yeah,
that's to keep the company from getting stale and keeping the talent from getting stale. That's one of the problems with WWE. We're seeing the same fucking 4 or 5 people rotated in and out of the main event, so much so that it's like, okay, we have nothing else I like seeing all these indie promotions shaking hands and trying to just make money for everyone. Like it's a business that's lucrative now. These people can do this full time, and it's not in the WWE. It's a very exciting thing, regardless of AEW or not. But yeah, any other little odds and ends you wanted to bring up?
Jonah Rock, formerly known as Brutus Beefcake, formerly known as Bronson Reed, showed up on Impact and beat the shit out of Josh Alexander at Turning Point.
Right to the top, baby.
I'm very happy because I've always been high on Jonah. So yeah, and then there was another round of releases, which we hope you guys enjoyed the little Sideways in Time Theater. Yeah, another round of releases. Fucking some of them I could see, some of them, Hit Row kind of threw me for a loop.
So I listened to Top Dollar on Bank or
Busted Open.
Talk
I
about
listened to him too.
Yeah, and it's interesting his take about it. He really kind of, without saying it, made it sound like all of our suspicions about WWE literally just hoarding talent to have them so no one else could. He didn't say that. That was not his words, so don't quote me. But the way he made it sound, where he was like, okay, I've been doing this, I've been doing 20, 30-minute matches for quite a few years now and killing it. And then you guys get me here and say, no, we need to see what you can do first. But then he's like, okay, so put me in the ring. And then if he did, he was in there for 4, 5, 7 minutes.
Yeah. They give him a squash match. And it was like, well,
Which, hey, I wouldn't have known who Top Dollar was or any of those guys were without NXT and WWE.
No.
So that good on them on that. But I'm glad they got to spend that little bit of time to make themselves known so that wherever they end up, they're going to be fine. Like he said, when the first people to reach out to you when they find out is like Hall of Fame talent and like legends, like Mick Foley was one of the first people to apparently reach out to a bunch of them. Like, hey, I don't know what the hell they're doing over there, but you're going to be fine. You're good. You're good.
Well, and listening to that interview, I actually, because I liked his in-ring work, but Ashante Adonis Tahuti, I became a bigger fan of him. He is really, but like, in the interview, he's really cool and really, I really enjoyed that interview. So,
it's
listening
it's
to
mind-boggling.
But the one that got me was Morrison. I was like, what the? You bring this dude back after he, was Lucha Underground champ and Impact champ, and you bring him back and you throw him in a tag team with The Miz. And I was like, okay, I could see that to get him reacquainted with the WWE universe. But then that's all you fucking did with him, and then you cut him. I don't know if it's because they cut Frankie Monet and he requested his release. I don't know, or
she was going. She was ready for him to be gone so she could unload.
Oh yeah, and I don't blame her at all.
I don't either.
And what everybody said about the releases, what fucking Tony Khan has said, what the talent has said, what all those people have said. I kind of agree with. I was also listening to 83 Weeks, and Bischoff was talking about how WWE is a publicly traded company, so they kind of have a different rules to play by and stuff. So I can understand that, but at the same time, it's just I don't know. It is a weird thing because it's like I'm sick of WWE and like what they're fucking doing with talent, and I'm like, oh no, but then they're releasing talent, and I'm pissed that they're releasing talent. So I know it's like it seems a little hypocritical, but it's like no, I want there to be better fucking stories. I want there to be more cohesive stories.
They've got talent. They've got some of the best talent in the world. There's no arguing that. It's not on the talent. It's WWE's inability to be creative and tell long-term story. Like Hangman Adam Page's story was literally over 2 years long.
Yeah, it was from the birth of AEW up until earlier this month.
Literally all in. All the way up until he just won that title from Omega. They've been telling his story nonstop, consecutively, all the way through to this championship win, and it's still not over yet. Like, and within that story, they've been telling stories that has been telling stories. Like, I don't watch. I don't care about. I care about wrestling. I love to watch wrestling, like in-ring wrestling, but there's no point in investing in these matches or paying money for a pay-per-view or a network like Peacock or whatever the case may be, or watching USA or Fox, if there's no story being told. What am I investing in if I don't know why they're fighting? Because they're not fighting for a championship, and if they are, the championship doesn't mean shit anyway, and then on top of that, why do I care if X versus Z happens? Like because what? Like they bumped shoulders in the locker room, and like now they're like, oh, that's bullshit. I'm fighting you. Oh, that's what their creative feels like half the time, and it's awful because they have such great fucking talent.
They have some. I mean, literally some of the best talent in the world. Top to bottom.
Speaking of WWE and their inability to keep up on creative with some of the other amazing up and coming promotions, not even up and coming, just ones that have been around forever, but are just now finally starting to get some shine. I wanted to have a discussion, like we had said in the beginning of the show, about, do you think WWE still has the ability to compete? So let's say, because right now it's obvious, we all see them because everybody's obsessed with them. The ratings on AEW are not quite, they're about half to, 3/4 of the ratings that WWE gets. But you got to look at the playing field. WWE has been around for ever at this point, as far as entertainment is concerned.
I mean, what, Raw's been on over 25 years. SmackDown is just right around 25 years.
Yeah, it's somewhere within 20 years at least, or more. Like, and they're a public company, like you had mentioned earlier. So there's all these elements that, no matter what, I think comparing ratings at this point is not really relevant. When you have your finger on the pulse of what people are saying about these promotions, you still have your diehard WWE fans. My brother's one of them. He loves the WWE. He does have his nitpicks, but he almost refuses to move away from them because it's what he grew up with, and I don't blame him. I get that. That's why I get so angry, because I grew up with WWE too. That's the one I want to see succeed, but it's not, in my opinion. It's lost me completely, even more so now than it was in like 2011 or whatever it was when I stopped watching the first time, when it was like Berto Del Rio and
that was like and that was what, Punk and Batista and
unfortunately because they did have a great talent there too, but it was the Divas era, and who cares? People do, but I don't. My point being, though, when it comes to back in the day when it was WCW versus WWE and it was the Monday Night Wars, I feel like Vince isn't anywhere near as hands-on as people say he is these days, because back then, he was an on-screen character, so it seemed like he was more involved than maybe, obviously he's involved 100%. It's his shit. But I feel like he was really actively trying to make sure that everyone was allowed to do what they had to do to make their product the best product, not the most lucrative product, not the, because it's different now, and it's hard to compare back then to now because everything's different between social media and the amount of money and backing and sponsorships that WWE has. It's hard to compete in that way. But in this time of AEW, quote unquote, versus WWE, you would think, like, I just feel like WWE thinks, who gives a shit? We're going to make what we make. We're going to do what we do with what we want and how we want to do it. And people are going to watch or they're not, but it's not hurting them as a business anymore. So it's like, do they have the ability to compete? Yeah, because they have the roster to do it. Like, they absolutely have the roster to compete with anybody in the world. There's no question about that whatsoever. But I don't think creatively, I think they've completely lost their way on what it takes to make a creative wrestling product.
I mean, one thing is they kind of been resting on their laurels. You look from 2001, they had the little blip of TNA. But from 2001 up until 2019, they had literally no competition.
Right.
So they can do what they want.
TNA and Impact didn't count, really.
Yeah, but I mean, it was drawing, 1.5 million and stuff. I apologize if I'm slurring. I'm fucking drunk. So if my shit doesn't make sense, I'll fucking blame it on the Kringle Crusher.
You're making perfect sense.
Right there, Kringle Crusher by Rogue. Standing dropping an elbow on Krampus. You ain't gonna see that shit in WCW. WWE. What? Fuck.
You drunk is me sober, which is ridiculous.
So yeah, they had no competition for 20 years, and you had people tuning in. I mean, you had people watching Raw from the jump. people like me.
Yep, same.
People watching Raw from jump, and it didn't matter what the fuck they did, they were gonna fucking watch Raw. That's the audience that's watching Raw now. You have a fan base of millions that are just, it's Monday night, it's time to watch Raw, or it's Monday night, I'm gonna DVR Raw, or it's if you work Monday night, it's Tuesday after work, I'm gonna fucking watch the DVR, watch it on Hulu or whatever.
Right.
You're gonna get those fucking ratings just because you've been around for fucking ever. I mean, like Raw's been around for over a quarter century.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's going close to 30 years.
Oh,
And
it has
kudos
to.
to them. But it's just you get to the point where it's, if you have no competition and you're getting millions of viewers anyway, it doesn't matter what the fuck you do. They've shown it in the past. They don't give a fuck what they do. One of my biggest gripes is the Raw creative. They write for an audience of one. We all know who that one is.
Right.
And you said he doesn't have a hand in creative. He can change shit on a dime.
Oh, he
He
can't.
can
It's not
read
that
the
he can,
script
he
and go,
does.
yeah, it could be 7:30 before the fucking show goes on. He goes, no, this is shit. Rewrite it.
28 years, by the way.
Okay, 28 years. So he could change shit on a dime and have you rewrite a whole fucking show. What's the fucking point of having a writer's room if only one person can come in, if you're only writing for that one person, and whatever it depends on what the fuck he ate that day.
Right.
If he has heartburn, he could go in and go, no, fuck Ricochet. He's not going over, and take him off the show. And you know what? Rewrite the whole fucking show.
Ricochet sneezed in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Get him out of here. He's fired.
God damn it.
Well, and that's the thing too. So I was obsessed with they did that docu-series on the original network called the Monday Night Wars. I have all 2 or 3 seasons, whatever it was. I love it. Even though I'm well aware it's mostly a one-sided story. But my point is, one of the big factors that they had brought up numerous times is that over in WCW, creative over there, like Bischoff and them, would change things moments before they went on the air, and that was part of the decline of their product, is because there was no coherency to what they were doing as far as telling their stories. And now all of a sudden, that's what WWE does almost on a daily, like on a show basis. The difference is WCW did not have the platform that WWE has now to keep them floating. Now they don't have to tell coherent stories. They can literally go off and do whatever they want, and they're fine because they're selling T-shirts and toys.
Yeah, and people, people have been conditioned to that. It's just
probably
like
getting Peacock money too, regardless of whether they're using the WWE portion.
Yeah.
So
it's just well, this
money despite themselves.
This person was a bad guy last week. Well, he's a good guy this week, so forget about last week. Oh, okay.
We saw how well that worked with Big Show all those years.
God.
So
fucking waste. But I mean, I had something I was going to say, and I forgot about it.
I think
I'm just going to say titties.
Hey, everybody loves those. So I think the consensus technically is, can WWE compete? Yes. Are they or will they? Highly unlikely.
That's it. They can only sail this boat for so long, because people, word is getting out about AEW. I think over time AEW's gonna rise, and I think over time people like me who've been diehard WWE fans their whole fucking life are gonna be like, this fucking sucks. And you were talking about AEW all that time, and the only reason I didn't watch it is because I cut the cord.
Right.
And finally I was like, you know what? When they did that one giant thing of releases, me and my wife were like, fuck this. Let's check out AEW.
Yeah.
And
you saw how excited I got when I talk about AEW, and then I was like lackluster about the WWE. Like, I was paying attention, but like, listen to this though. Like we would get in trouble for talking at work because it would take me like 45 minutes to an hour and a half to tell you one little story that happened on Dynamite.
You describing Luchasaurus, I was like, what the fuck?
It shouldn't work, but it does. We should put him on that list last week.
Yeah.
On
shit.
Most awful gimmicks to get over.
Fucking Jungle Boy shouldn't work either. I mean, fucking Jungle Boy.
I think it was
Anyway,
actually on Busted Open again. They had mentioned the same. That I had thought the same thing. They mentioned, I hope one day down the line, like the name Jungle Boy does not sound like a world champion, but
No.
Jungle Jack Perry does.
But I think if he just goes to Jungle Man,
that would,
I think he'll be good.
Jungle
he'll be
Man?
Jungle Man, and Luchasaurus,
No
and then
way. They didn't do the Nature Man. It was the Nature Boy. He doesn't have to be a young boy.
They could bring in the Blue Meanie, and
he could be the
Kevin Thorne.
Oh my God, Jackson Riker.
Yeah, Isaac Yankem.
Oh, what?
Fucking.
Hey, Jungle Boy has great teeth. So anyway,
no, I love Jungle Boy. He's phenomenal. But I don't know what the fuck we were talking about. All I know is AEW is great at storytelling, and WWE is shit at storytelling. Oh, at this point, I want to make the 12-month the pay-per-view every month, and not only that, but having the fucking blood money specials.
Yeah.
So you can't have long-term storytelling. You have 3-week, 4-week storytelling, sometimes even 2 weeks. Sometimes it's like, oh fuck, we need another match.
Right.
Let's throw Kevin Owens in there with Bobby Lashley, and we'll just make a storyline.
Which they know they're going to book a good match, because Kevin Owens versus Bobby Lashley sounds great on paper.
Banger, but who's excited for it when it's like, Kevin Owens shit in my shoes, so now I'm mad at him.
Oh, shucks.
Why'd he shit in your shoes? You don't just shit in somebody's shoes for no reason.
Like at least with like Roman Reigns and the bloodline, like there's not really there's not like a blatant story being told other than we're the fucking shit. We're the best. We are the kings of our domain. That's enough story to build off of.
Exactly.
Even building off of that. Like, no, it's just for them and no one else. And that's like, what? Well, why? You have so much fucking talent. Why aren't you including any of these people? You could be building. That's why people shit on AEW in the beginning, because there were so many factions. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a massive faction fan. I've always been a fan. And the reason I'm a fan is for the reason AEW seems to be doing it. And that's because, like Inner Circle, for example, like that's a group of guys that they didn't necessarily know what to do with on their own. And so because of that, they put them all in a group, and now they all have a place in the they all have a place. They all have a story that can be told. Sammy Guevara breaking off and doing his own thing and then winning a championship. Like there's all these different stories that can be told between factions. So, okay, WWE, you have like 3 or 4 of them now. You just got rid of one that was on its way up that would have done amazing. Like Hit Row was amazing, and so it's just like.
I was talking about Hurt Business. I forgot about Hit Row.
Well, yeah, I mean, shit, Hurt Business. Like that's what I'm saying. They have a handful of them that, like, between the New Day, the Bloodline, the Hurt Business, Hit Row. I don't watch anymore, so I'm not really sure if there's any more than that. I'm sure there is, but it's just. I don't know, man. There's so much potential. And I think that's what gets, like I said, I think that's what gets me most upset, is that I want to see that product work. I want to see it do well. I want to see that roster happy behind the scenes so that they seem happy in front of the cameras, like the AEW crew. Like it's just.
And I mean, part of it is they can't be fucking happy behind the scenes because they don't know if they're going to get that phone call from Johnny Ace. Hey, we're releasing you because of budget cuts.
Well, and that's a great point. See, that's the other thing I was going to mention, and I wasn't thinking about it. So you would think in any other time frame, look, man, we're on the chopping block, all of us. Any one of us could be fired today. So tomorrow we're going to go out, we're going to have the best match we could possibly have. We're going to prove that we should stay. But they're doing that. And they're still being fired. So it's not about, are you doing well enough in our company? It's, we don't need you or want you. We just had to have you. Like that's blatantly obvious at this point.
And I mean, like, if I were to say name a better in-ring performer than Morrison, everybody, it's subjective. But if I were to say, is Morrison one of the best in-ring performers? You would have to, you cannot deny that the dude is phenomenal in the ring.
No, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's always been fantastic.
And then on promos, I mean, the shit with him and fucking Miz.
Yeah.
Those were some of the funniest shit. I mean, Miz is great on the mic, but yeah, fucking Morrison be with, and then they fucking cut him. If they're gonna cut Morrison of his caliber, if they're gonna cut Bray Wyatt of his caliber, Malachi Black, fucking Braun Strowman, all these people, they're gonna cut people of that caliber and that status on the roster. You know, you look at somebody like fucking Drew Gulak,
Right.
or fucking Drake Maverick. Look at that.
He's cracking me up on Twitter, by the way, Drew Gulak.
And but like they cut Maverick and then they brought him back only to cut him a year later.
Yeah.
And
It's just-
which, if you have not seen that video that Drake Maverick made, go or Rockstar Spud or whatever he is now,
yeah.
but fucking go see that, because holy shit, that came out 10 minutes. He had to have known beforehand, because he had to have made that beforehand. But just watch that video that Drake Maverick made after he got released. It is fucking powerful. It is fucking beautiful, and it is fucking honest and true. And just I don't know. Can they compete? Can WWE compete? Yes, they have every ability to compete. They've shown over the years that they can compete, then they can win.
But they won't.
They're in their own little world now. I mean,
Fine. You know what I mean? And the funny thing is, and we're gonna have to wrap this up here shortly, but the funny thing is that I've heard a lot of people say that they're like the Disney. I think they even mentioned it on BFR Zach. I think mentioned it one time on the show a long time ago, that WWE has become the equivalent of like the Disney of pro wrestling. But I agreed at first, but after thinking about it, Disney tells really fucking good stories.
Yeah.
So if you're comparing them to Disney in the sense that they have enough money to do whatever the fuck they want, they don't have to worry about their fans, sure. But that's a weird comparison considering Disney tells great stories. Look at all the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look at all the Star Wars movies. Like they have the ability. Why not hire someone? If you're going to sell, which is always the rumor, and whether or not it's true is a whole nother story. But if you're going to sell to Disney, hire their fucking writers. Jesus Christ.
Jeez, hire one of the fucking writers.
I used to cry once a month to pro wrestling. Like something happened that got me emotional, right? Back in the day. At least once a month, something happened that was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I haven't done that with WWE and I can't even remember how long. AEW, it happens almost once every couple weeks. Like, not that I'm actually physically crying, but you know what I mean? Like
you feel
I'm emotional with their
right
product. Like I feel connected to AEW and their product. And so yeah, like you said, and I think we both pretty much said the exact same thing. Can the WWE compete? 100, 200, 300, 500%. But they're not going to, at least not anytime soon. Maybe one day if Triple H actually gets his hand on it and is able to do something with it, which I highly doubt. Unfortunately, because he did great things with NXT.
Yeah.
Business in general, that man helped shape AEW. He helped shape MLW. He not fit, directly, but he made it fun to watch an indie product on a big scale. And he made the alternative to WWE, and it was under the WWE banner. How fucking good do you have to be the alternative to something when you're owned by the same fucking company? Yep.
So, I don't know. One thing I was going to ask you, like, because I know you haven't watched much WWE in a while. I haven't watched much in a while. What name one storyline out of besides the Bloodline? Name one storyline that's going on now post Survivor Series.
I think Becky Lynch versus Charlotte, but I'm only assuming that because I know that's the Survivor Series thing, and it's been that way forever.
That's done. They're on different brands, so it's kind of over. Name one storyline outside of that.
Yeah, I mean I don't watch though, so. Yeah. And even if I don't watch, I would think I'd still be intrigued on what stories they're telling on TV, and I'm not. That's why I'm not watching.
But like, I don't watch GCW. I've never seen a GCW show, but I fucking know that, you know,
They still tell
I
stories.
knew about the matches coming up. I knew about fucking Nick Gage versus Cardona or Effie versus Cardona. I knew
Yeah.
it, you know, fucking, you know, I knew about the goddamn Thunder Rosa versus Laney Luck in Mission Pro Wrestling,
Yeah.
a all women's league in fucking Texas.
There's
I knew
something
about
to
it
it.
because you have Dave LaGreca, you have Thunder Rosa who are involved, and you have Laney Luck, who is a local favorite here. She's an Kansas City indie darling.
Right.
But I knew about that. I don't know about anything going on inside of WWE outside of Roman Reigns because no fucking storyline matters. You don't give a shit outside of that.
Take away Roman Reigns right now and the bloodline, and they're in shambles.
Yeah. That's the
Which
only
is
reason
crazy to say.
winning.
Which is crazy to say because 5 years ago we were all shitting on Roman Reigns. So
But
they did
it's the
one
same
thing
thing.
right.
It's the same thing when I was growing up. Only the difference is that the industry's been exposed and stuff, so you know it's real. But it was
Right.
just like Hulk Hogan mattered, and everything else was just kind of, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember a couple of storylines here and there, but you know, I remember goddamn near every fucking Hulk Hogan storyline
Right.
because they focus on the one and that's it. Now you go to AEW, I can tell you a shitload of storylines that are going on. Fucking Team Taz and Isaiah or Dante Martin,
Yeah.
Dante Martin and fucking
Leo Rush.
Leo Rush. Thank you. I'm drunk. It's kind of hard to think of names.
But yeah, I mean, you've got the Super Click and the Elite now having some type of rift between them, possibly.
And the ongoing thing with the Jurassic Express and Cage.
And, yep.
You got Hangman Page and Dark Order. You got, you know, I mean, it's fucking so many different. You got Hikaru Shida and Serena Deeb. You got Thunder Rosa.
Now you've got the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy joining Chaos from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like we could go on and on and on.
You got Bobby Fish and the Super Elite. I mean, and if you're listening to the names, notice some of the fucking names are intersecting. You know, they don't just have linear storylines. It's almost a fucking web.
The story behind the rise of Miro is still being told show after show after show, wins or losses. And I know we talk about that almost every week, regardless of whether the man wins or loses, it's aiding to his story, to his rise, because there's no way in hell that man will not hold that world championship within the next 2 years. There's not a chance in hell he won't have that title.
And I will be happy to boo him.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah. It's going to be hard to fucking boo him when that happens, because we're all going to get emotional because of how this is all led up to this. Like with the WWE past, plus we're finally getting the Miro we wanted and that he wanted more specifically. Like it just feels good to watch what they're doing. So WWE, fucking get your shit together. Start marking the fuck out, because and not that you give a shit. You don't care if you lose us as viewers, but I care that you lose us as viewers.
Exactly.
I don't want to not watch WWE. I want to watch WWE. I just fucking can't do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys, hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully while you guys are listening to this, since it's a little later in the day than what we're recording it, share a beer with Patrick while you're listening, because he's drinking alone right now. You know, he's getting elbow dropped by Santa as we speak.
No, look at this beard, motherfucker. Who I'm doing the elbow drop.
It looks like Krampus's ass.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm dropping the elbow on Krampus. So there's Krampus. There we go. We got it.
Old crackhead Santa over here, fucking
Crackhead Santa.
So as
suck
always,
your dick for some Kringle.
Oh my god, this has to happen like once a month. So again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Of course, head over to Sideways in Time Network on YouTube. Like, subscribe, tell us how you feel about each episode. You know, we love you guys, even if we say we don't. Hey, for Banned from Ringside podcast, for BFR JCB, for BFR Zach, for BFR Bill, for Stardom podcast, for the Smitty Show, for I'm trying to think of other podcasts that I want to shout out.
Was Kevin WK's show?
Beards, Bruisers, and
I don't know, KC and
God damn,
Nightlife.
Now I feel like a fucking Casey Nightlife is a whole other thing.
Oh shit, that's something. Oh fuck, I don't know. I'm just pulling shit out my
Beards,
ass.
breakdowns, or Bruisers, breakdowns, and beards podcast. Buddies of ours. Yeah. So, anyways, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Patriot Pat, for always being here with me at my side for these wonderful shows. And you had a wardrobe change.
To a Coke Zero, and I want to thank Dog for being a piece of shit.
Hey, by the way, Dog, I appreciate you, buddy. I really do. Anyways, without further ado,
Fuck Dog.
Let's get the fuck out of here, huh? Tell them what they should do, Patrick.
Well, I think let's say you're walking down the street and you see your favorite wrestler walking into an H&M's or a Abercrombie and Fitch. I think you should mark the fuck out.
I think if you see him going into an Abercrombie and Fitch, they're the wrong wrestler for you, bro. It was way funnier in my head than I said it out loud. We'll see you guys.
No, actually, you're right. Okay, you see him going into a Gander Mountain or a Bass Pro Shop. I don't know.
Gander Mountain? What the fuck is that? My wrestlers shop at Hot Topic, bro.
Hot Topic.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.
Annie's pretzels.
Yes. Oh, dude. Yeah, if that's the case.
You break, we fix.
We'll see you guys next week. Oh, man. Cue the music. God damn it.